Hi, I'm Shellie Geigle with J&S Hobbies and Crafts, and I have another mini album tutorial for you. This one is a 7x9 and it features the PRIMA Tales of You and Me. It also features the Tales of You and Me flower collection and some embellishments, and it came together really beautifully. And inside here there is a new design. If you're not going to be taking the tutorial, it may be worth looking at. I created a zipper pocket, so that is something new I've introduced. This tutorial is 3 parts. It's a little longer. For those of you that are beginners, you will be able to make this. This is a step-by-step, and we'll be making this together. Those of you that follow along with my tutorials, the Designs by Shellie, VBS, Steampunk Days paper collection has been released. I will be doing some tutorials on that. That's coming up next. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what we'll be making today. We're going to do an overview of what we're going to build today. And there's a lot of layering going on with this. And it's very simple. Got the spine. And I'm going to back this out just a little bit. And the back, which also has a little charm back here. And we have a chain closure. Little charm there. Page 1, we have a pocket here. We have a nice fold out, another pocket, and another pocket. Page 2, this is one of my favorites other than the zipper pocket we'll be doing. We have a large top loading pocket, and we will be making this mat together to make sure that you are fitting, and the idea here is to place your family photo right over that, or you can use the back, and then when you slide it in, it'll frame around. Page 3 and 4, we have a double fold out here with some pockets. And this will hold quite a bit. Another pocket. And another pocket. Page 4 is just a double pocket here to store some photos. And our next page. And this is an envelope, but it's actually has some spacing so you can really get some stuff in there. And all I have in here is just a couple things. Here we just have a pocket. This page I left alone so you can put your own photo here. And we come to the zipper pocket. Now this is functional. It will zip down and you can put smaller things in there. Mostly it's for looks. And we have a little charm hanging off there. These two pages actually fold out larger, like so. So it's going to hold quite a bit in here. There's also a side pocket here and a side pocket on this side to get your photos in. And again, I left this so that you can place your own photo there, large one. This is a pocket. Folding it out, we have a pocket here, a pocket here, and if you want to slide something in there, you can. Coming to the last two pages, we have this. Oh, this is a little pocket if you want to use that as a pocket or not, or just for looks. This does fold up, and this folds down, and we have a pocket down here, and we have a nice pocket right here. And then the last page here, this is a large fold out as well, and this does fold out, and we've got a waterfall and an area here to place a photo if you'd like, a good size photo. And then our last page, again, you can put a photo right here in the pocket. I was really pleased on how this came out. I thought it was just darling. So, and there we have it. Let's move on to the materials list. Materials list. There are quite a bit of materials here, but you can always alternate with stuff that you already have on hand. The first thing that we're going to need is one 12 by 12 Tales of You and Me. It's by PRIMA. And there are actually 24 double-sided sheets in here, one alphabet sticker sheet, one journaling spot sticker sheet, and one journaling card sheet. And this is a very gorgeous collection. And I'm just going to flip through it just real quick here. There's the back sheet. 1, 2. And what you're going to get in here is 4 of each sheet. Or 4 of each sheet, which has like a design on this side, of course. They're all double-sided, so you're going to get 4 of this style, 4 of this. I'm just going to flip through here. Main ingredient, you're also going to probably want to get the matching 4x6 journaling note cards and use these for your picture mats or to cut down for some of the stuff in here. But you get a lot in here, and there's 45, and they are cardstock, and they are double-sided. The double-sided, one side is just plain cardstock colors, solids, and then of course the designs that match that. For the spine, and this is new, this is made by PRIMA, Frank Garcia's Memory Hardware. It's a paper, it's a leather looking paper, and it comes in the 12 by 12 size. And you can buy it in single sheets at my store. I am using the Coordinations Black Cat Premium Cardstock Value Pack. There's 50 sheets in here. It's 8.5 by 11. And then another main ingredient is the Heartfelt Creations 3D Flip and Fold album. So what we have here is the actual album with the pages in here. Embellishments used was I used the PRIMA. This is just a rectangular frame. You can get the large one and the small one in here. And these are by Tim Holtz. They're newer. And this is a 2-pack of metal frames, and this is 4 of the cameo frames, and it does come with the little plastic covering for in here.
and there is a place to put a chain through, and we do use those. And one of the biggest things that I used in here was this, and it's the Tales of You and Me. It's by PRIMA, of course. It's their wood embellishments, and what you're going to get is a little box here, and you're going to get several of the Tales of Us bingo, and it's all wood, and it's it's about an 1/8 inch thick on these, so they're not real thin. The main flower on the cover of this album, and some of you may have already purchased this if you took the Coffee Talk album tutorial. I used it in there too, and I wanted to bring it to my next tutorial so we get more use out of it. The Sunrise Lily stamp and the Sunrise Lily matching die that places over your stamped image. You can run it through your die cutter. If you don't have a die cutter, it's okay. All you need is the stamp. You're going to stamp the image. It's going to look like this, and it's easy to hand cut out. The only thing the stamp doesn't come with is this little inner thing, but that's okay. Flat back pearls, that's what they're for too. I did use a couple paper doilies. I'm getting those into my store, but in the meantime, Recollections at Michael's has the pack where you get this, the little larger and the smaller. And you know, these aren't necessary, but I did incorporate them. I thought they were really pretty. You will need a black zipper, or white if you're choosing to do your album in white. With white cardstock, you'll probably want to go with a white zipper. But this is the 4-inch zipper, and that's available in my store now. Dies. I used the Spellbinders S6028. It's the oval floral, and it's the larger one. And I used this one time, so if you have something else on hand, use it, or get this. This makes for beautiful cards too. And I think I used this in another tutorial. For the die cutting trim, and this tutorial goes both ways. You can use the Martha Stewart punches, or you can do your die cutting. I brought this back into this tutorial. I used it in another one, but it's the Heartfelt Creations Regal Borders and Pockets and the Ornate Borders and Pockets. And you can see this one is an HCD 1779, and this is the HCD 1780. Martha Stewart punches. You'll want, if you're going to be doing punching, and I did both in here. Mostly in the album I used this, but a Martha Stewart deep edge punch you will want to use. I actually use this one. It's called Roller Coaster. It is discontinued, so if you have it already, you can use that. If you like the lattice look, available is the deep edge punch called Garden Trellis. It has that lattice look. But honestly, any of the Martha Stewart deep edge punches, they go well with almost any project. So if you have one, save a little money and use what you have. And then I did use a 1/2-inch punch in here, and I believe this one's called Flourish Lace, and this comes in a combo pack, but you don't have to buy the combo pack. Martha Stewart puts out a whole line of these 1/2-inch punches that are just gorgeous. I used quite a bit of packaged flowers in this tutorial. Some of them are from the Tales of You and Me collection. Some of them are from the Vintage Emporium. It looks good. This one, and this is PRIMA flowers, and it's from the Vintage Emporium collection, number 586560. And you get 12 pieces in here. We've got this flower pack, which is the Tales of You and Me collection, and it's number 586294. These PRIMA flowers, and you will have a lot left over for another project or for cards or whatever you're doing. There's 100 little flowers in here of different sizes and colors. And this is the Tales of You and Me collection, and it's 586294. 287. And then I used this Prima Flowers, and there's 12 in here, and these are sparkly. I'm not sure if you can see the sparkles or not. And this is from the Vintage Emporium pack as well. And it's a number 586539. Another thing used is the Petaloo DIY. They're the do-it-yourself paintable or inkable leaves, and you get quite a few in this pack. They're different styles and shapes and sizes, and if you're not die cutting your own leaves, this is a good pack to have. Okay, for my handmade flowers, I did first put on the Wink of Stella. And all that is a pen, and it's the clear, and you just run it right over the inked part of your flower, or any part. You can even put this on sentiments, and it will give it a nice shimmer. And then you can cover it with glossy accents. This is also a medium, but it puts a nice glossy shine over your sentiment or your flowers. And it also will help strengthen up some of those flowers, especially the one on the outside of the cover. For those of you that are at a loss for flower shaping kits, if you're going to be making your own flowers and you do not have a flower shaping kit, Heartfelt Creations came out with two different ones. This is the deluxe one, and it's a little expensive, but I'll tell you, I bought this one, and I'm finally getting to get into this. But you get two mats. You get this size and this size, and this. You get all these different tool heads to slip right on in here. And they just snap in, and you can interchange these. And there's even picks, everything that you need for shaping that flower or working with things. So this one's a little more expensive, but it's well worth the money. Now there's also one that comes with a smaller little mat, your tool, and a couple, I think I think there's two different size styling heads here that you can slip in, and that one's a lot less expensive, and it will do the job as well too. Me, I tend to use all this sort of stuff, so I went with the deluxe. Lace. I now have lace in my store, and I'm going to tell you what I used in this. And this is like 3/4 inch width. It's a thinner lace. It's nice, and it's the white. And all you would need is and I sell it by the yard, so 1 yard is just plenty. I also have the 1/2 inch, and it's the same nice thinner, but really pretty. About 1 yard of that. And then I have the more stylish ones that is about 1 3/4 inch width, and I did use this. And let's see. You'll probably want to get a pack of magnets. 20 come, I know if you're buying it from me, you might buy it somewhere else, or you might already have some. A 20 pack or 10 pack, excuse me, will do you just fine. These are the 3/8 inch, and they're very strong magnets. I mean, they're just strong. You put them down, and next thing you know, they're gone. They're stuck to your scissors, and you're looking for it forever. But that's what was used. Adhesives. You will want a pack of score tape, maybe 2 for this one. This is the 1/4 inch width, and it's a 27 yards on this roll. You'll want that. The glue I use is the Art Glitter glue, and I recommend this to anybody. It does not leave any residue on your paper. If the little gets off, you can wipe it. There's nothing there. It does dry clear. It is good for metal, plastics, papers, and if you do get this, invest in a metal tip, because that metal tip just slides right on top of there, and it's going to control how much stream of glue comes out, and that way you don't waste it, because you don't need a whole lot of this. And also available, and it should be in my store, and I think it's arrived now, the Art Glitter Refill. and this is quite the bargain. You get 8 ounces of it. So if you pick up a bottle of this, because this is 2 ounces, when it's done, you will definitely not throw the bottle away. You're going to want to get the refill and save quite a bit of money with this refill. Flat back pearls, any flat back pearls will do for this album. Whatever you have on hand. I used a mixture in this, so that's something that you'll want. You're going to want bling on a roll, and I don't have the package for this. It's black. This is the single row, and it's very inexpensive, and you get, oh gosh, a lot of yards for, I think it's what, $3.99, and you get just a ton. But we do use this. And also, something new out that we are going to be using, and in conjunction with some of those little cameos from Tim Holtz, is PRIMA has the Lever's Antique Chains, and I did use that. And then they have the rings, and I did use that. And I do this all the time. For the flowers, inks. The cover flower I used, and for some of the inking of the lily flower, I used Memento Angel Pink, a little bit of yellow. This is dandelion. So if you have a light pink or yellow, use what you have on hand. You don't have to have this exact. We have Toffee Crunch. It is a light tan. It's good for going around edges. It tones down colors as well if you need it. Kind of gives it a vintage look. My leaves were done with pistachio and pear tart. Okay, you're definitely going to want to have a pair of scissors, your paper cutter. You'll probably want some little snips for the chain. You'll want a little needle nose pliers for closing the rings. And last thing, you might want to grab a hot glue gun. I use a low temp so I don't burn myself, but it's good for easy, quick tacking of certain things where we don't necessarily have to use our glue, like for fold outs or stuff like that, or quick tacking of our flowers. So let's get our album ready to go out of the packaging. This is a 7" by 9". The inner pages are 8.5 by 6.5. In our paper pad, first page we are looking for, so we're going to start with the outside, is this one. Let's go ahead and trim off this top piece, measure over 6 inches, and cut that in half. We're going to make a couple piles. One is called our reserves or our scrap pile, and we will have a second pile with any cardstock that we end up using. Let's set this one off to the side in reserves. Looking at your paper like this, measure over 8 7/8 of an inch and cut it. This goes in your reserves. Let's go ahead and flip this over. We're going to put score tape around the outside. We're going to put another row right next to it on the score tape over here. And we're going to put one down the middle and two about that size on either side. We do have a lot of weight, so that's going to be on our cover, the frame and the flowers, so we want to make sure nothing buckles up on us. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is what you should have, and if you have any score tape that is overhanging, you're definitely going to want to trim that off. So what we're going to do is remove the score tape, and we are going to position this right at the edge there, and you will have black showing right around here. I've got my score tape off, and I'm just going to turn this so you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to mount this, leaving black on the bottom and the top and a little bit on the side showing. Trying to get that even. And we're going to make sure we press that down really good. Now let's go ahead and open this up. Just split it right down the middle. You won't hurt this none. And I'm going to lay this out. In your reserves, you will have this piece here. And what we're going to do is measure over 8 7/8 and cut it. Okay, we're going to flip that over and do the same exact thing with the score tape. And then we're going to go ahead and place that the same way we did the other, right down like that. So let's do that. Okay, I've got mine down. Let's get out this sheet. Measure over 9 inches and cut it. The small piece put in your reserves. And now I'm going to turn it because this is 9 inches tall. And what we're going to do here is grab a deep edge punch by Martha Stewart or whatever you have. Any one will work. I just grab this. And we're going to punch along the shorter side all the way down. And I'll pull this up. So this is the short side. We're just going to go all the way down. So this is what you're going to have. Okay, so once you get this side done from the tip or the top edge or tip of your punch here, measure over 8 1/4 inches and cut it. Now you're going to trim punch along this side. Okay, grab your ruler and from the tip here, just measure over 2 1/4 inches and kind of put a little thing like that. If it's easier for you just to wrap this around your album first and take a look at it this way, you can. The one thing you don't want to do is set this on your scoring board. It's going to make too hard of a crease there. So all we want to do is just make some soft creases, and we're going to have 2 1/4 inches this from here to here, which I think I've got it right. I'm going to move this over. So 2 1/4 inches, right like that. I've made a little pinch mark, but it's not all the way down. And then once you have that mark there, then you can hold your album up like this and just kind of do a little pinch over there so you know where you're supposed to when we put the score tape on and wrap this around on here, you'll be where you need to be. But we don't want any hard creases here just yet. So let's get our score tape out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look where my crease is, and just on the right side of my crease I'm going to put a piece of score tape and keep it even all the way down. And then I'm just going to go around like so. And I'll be using the glue for this part. All I need, and since this is on fabric, I will need that extra little bit right over here. Okay, where your pinch is now, go to the left side of it and bring that down. And you're going to go all the way around. And I'm on the right side of that pinch now. It's probably hard for you to see, and I'm just going to try and keep this as straight as possible. And I'm going to go around here. I'm going to do one down the center, 2 shorter ones over here. And on this side, I'm going to do the same thing I did over here. So let's do that. This is what you should look like. And what we're going to do And I'm not going to take the score tape off first, but we'll do it together. But I want to show you what we're going to be doing here. Where your little pinch is here, just put it in the corner where it's supposed to go. And we will remove just the first little panel up here of score tape first. And all we'll do is make sure that this is steady, and then we will wrap it around to keep it even. So I'm going to show you really quick. And I'm going to try and hold the album up in ways that you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the back. I have my pinch right at the top there. I'm going to hold my album like this. Where that pinch is, I know is where the corner of the back is. Okay, and I'm going to just hold this all down, holding the center down so it stays flush. That center spine piece. Okay, and now I'm going to take my hand. Now's the time that I need to lift this up so you can see. I'm going to take this hand and push in the center first. And now that that's tacked, I'm just going to run my hand just like this, and it should keep it straight all the way down. Okay, once you get that on, and I'm upside down, I'm in the back right now, it makes no difference because I'm going to wrap this around the front and it's going to cover. Now all I'm going to do is remove this score tape on the spine, inner spine. And I'm going to remove the score tape off this as well. So I'll be back in just a moment as soon as I remove score mine. Tape backing is removed. This is actually the front of my album. I started with the back. I turned myself around, but it makes no difference because this should go on straight now. What I want you to do is to place it upright like this. Take your hand from the back and in the middle and smooth it over. I am going to attempt to do this straight without having it. I'm going to just move this up on its spine and hope it stays. But anyway, your hand goes like this. Just smooth it down. And once you've got that, the spine piece on, then you can just wrap this right on around and smooth it down. Just like that. Okay? So that's how we get that on there. We're going to go ahead and apply some glue. Right? And the easiest way is I just kind of drag this across. And remember, if this glue seeps through, it's not a big deal because it does dry clear. And all I do is just kind of go like that. And let's go ahead and do the back side as well. This might even be easier. Okay. Let's get some things we need. Now, in the very back, the last page of your paper pack is a sheet like this, and it is white on the back. Let's go ahead and trim this off, and then we are going to cut right on that line to separate these from that. Put the larger piece in reserves. We need two things off here. We're going to cut this off, and then we're going to get the postcard out. Put the other two pieces in reserves. We'll get to her shortly. Put her off to the side. Let's get our Toffee Crunch ink out, and we're going to ink around the edges of this. And all you do to do that is just run your dauber, or if you're using a sponge, whichever one, and we're just going to ink around the edges and get the corners there. The next thing we're going to do is just glue that right like this. Make sure the corner of this does not go on to this, and it's just probably about a 1/2 inch or so from the top, from this corner up. And then we're going to get some 1/2 inch lace out. So it's not going to hurt anything if you're a little bit off. I'm just going to stick mine right like this. And that's good enough. Okay. 1/2 inch lace. Let's go ahead and cut a piece to fit, and we're going to glue that right on down. As soon as this dries, I gotta make sure mine's even here. As soon as this dries, then I can flip this over and do the same for the back side, and we'll glue that down too. Okay, I got mine down. Let's grab this and grab your PRIMA resin frame. And all you are going to do is put a little bit of glue so that it doesn't seep out anywhere. Just a little bit around the edges here. And how I do this is I'm going to maneuver this over so that you can still see part of that butterfly. And it does sit slightly off to the side. And I'm going to press that down and let that, I didn't need it quite up that high. And I'm going to let that dry. It only takes a few seconds. Once that dries, we're going to apply glue to the back of this. And I think mine's already dry enough here. And we're going to put this right here so you can still see postcard and you still have some room to put our dreads. And I'm about 3/4, the side of this is 3/4 of an inch from here. So, okay, I'm going to let that dry. Let's get into our wood embellishments by PRIMA. That's all glued down. And all we're going to do is glue that down right there. So let's do that. Let's get a binder clip out and our drits. The only side of the drits that we need is the flat one. This one gets attached at the very end of the tutorial, so keep that in place. All we're going to do is add a little bit of glue here, and we're going to use the binder clip to hold it in place. And to make sure you can still get through, you can just kind of hold it down. As long as your thing can get down, you're good. So just clip that on there. While our drits is drying, let's go ahead and cut a piece of bling that will fit from top to bottom. And we're going to glue that down. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, when using this glue on fabric and your bling, it is going to take a moment to grab. I'm going to give mine about 5 minutes. I'm just patting it down to keep it straight. Another trick is, and I think that is done, is you can always clip it here and up here while it dries and pulling it at the top to keep it straight and to help it stay down. And then you can just pat to make sure that it makes contact with the glue in the fabric. Okay, I got my bling. It's all down. Let's move on. Let's get our Sunrise Lily stamp out. And we're going to need a piece of white cardstock for this. And we're going to go ahead and apply ink. And I'm using a pink. And then I'm going to stamp my image and die cut it out. Those of you without a die cutter, you will hand cut these out. And then I'm going to show you how to shape and how I'm shaping it. You can do it any way you want, and how I'm going to ink that. Let's get out our Sunrise Lily stamp. and I am using the Angel Pink, but any pink will do. We're going to stamp our image twice on white cardstock, and we're going to die cut that out. If you don't have a die cutter, you'll be hand cutting out the pieces. So let's get that ready to go. If you are die cutting, you're also going to want to die cut out 2 of these. I doubled up my white cardstock and laid each one down. It cut through just fine. So that's what we want. If you're not die cutting, you'll use a flat back pearl, or you can create your own. Okay, so let's put all our leaves up in one area, and all we are going to start to do here is we are going to ink around the edges of each one and going dark around the edges. So let's go around each one of our flowers and do that. Okay, so I went ahead and inked around the edges. I'm not sure from the lighting if you can tell. I do have pink on the edges there. The next thing we are going to do is just kind of lightly swipe a little bit right here on these, on each one just of our pink. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is grab a scratch piece of cardstock, and I'm going to ink up my yellow dauber because I'm using dandelion and it's pretty powerful. I'm just going to first blot off most of it there, and then I'm just going to swipe a little right in there. Not a whole lot, but right over that pink, and not all the way to the edges. And I'm going to do this with all of them. Okay, I've got them all. Next I'm going to grab my Toffee Crunch because I am going to tone down some of that. And I'm just going to blot the most of it off there to where I have just a little bit. And I'm just going to brush a little. Just like that. Whoops. And I'm going to do that for all of these. Just a little bit. Just to tone it down a little, but not too much, to where you're making a brown mess. Just a little bit. So let's do that with all of these. Okay, I've got mine all done. Grab your Wink of Stella. And if you are just opening up a new pack, how you get it to work is you will have seen this black little shipping ring. Whoops. Duh. There's a black shipping ring sitting right here. Nothing's going to happen until you unscrew your pin, throw it away. Now what you're going to want to do is shake it up a little bit, and you are going to squeeze right here until you just see a little bit come into the chamber. Then it will start to work. And then all we're going to do is put a layer over each flower. So let's do that. Okay, I've got mine on, and before I put this on my flower shaping molding mat, I'm going to let this dry. And otherwise you're going to get this stuff on your mat like I've done in the past so many times. And you're going to end up with a bunch of stuff. You can clean these, but it's harder. So let's let that dry. Okay, I think mine's dry. This out. And if you're using the deluxe kit, let's use the biggest one here. If you're using another kit, just grab the biggest ball head that you have. And let's start. I think mine's dry. Let's just start by running a circle and pulling in on each one of these. Just like that. On this, just run it in a circle and pull it in. And we're going to do that with all of the petals. The next tip I'm going to use, it's about a 6mm. If you were using the kit here, it's the second one in. We're just going to flop these over, and we are just going to run it just like this in a ball in the center on all of them. So let's do that. I'm going to put a piece of cardstock on mine, and I'm going to grab the largest one that looks like this. I'm going to dab a little hot glue. I'm messy, so I don't want to get it on my new kit. And all I'm going to do is place it right in there, and then I'm going to use the ball to push down, like so. Okay. I'm going to remove that now. Now I'm going to go to my next size. Put some glue in there because it's safe for me. And I'm just going to push it down on these. And I'm just layering them back and forth. That's all I'm doing so far. Next I'm going to grab this, and I've got hot glue string sticking, and I'm just going to place this in here and push it down in the center. I'm going to grab the other one and push that down in the center too. These are the last two ones, and we're going to do it the same way. So this is what we should have right now. Now one thing you can do with this is you can actually grab these petals and kind of give them a little more life. You're not going to hurt it, it's already glued down, but you can just pinch them like so. And I start with the bottom layer and I go around. And I'm just going to do this to all the petals. And as you can see, we're getting a whole new look. So let's do that with all of them. Sometimes it's easier. Actually, it is easier to do this before we assemble. Just pinch. No harm done. Okay. Set this off to the side. Let's get these. And you'll definitely want a piece of cardstock. All I'm going to do is grab what's left on this ink dauber and just start inking this around what's left. And I'm going to do both sides of this. I'm just going around, and I'm going to do it with all of these. And we're going to go ahead and use our Wink of Stella on this. And then we are going to apply our glossy accents to these. Those of you that don't have a die cutter and don't have these, you'll just use a flat back pearl in the center or make your own. Or you can sometimes buy the stamens already done. You just ink those yellow. And that's all we're going to do here. And then yes, glossy accents does go over these. I usually like to use a little paintbrush, and then I clean it up really quick so it doesn't ruin my brush. Okay, so I have my glossy accents on here, and you may see a little bit of a discoloration on mine. I grabbed a paintbrush that my daughter did not totally clean out from when she was painting with grays and browns, and it's smudged on here, but you know what, I'm going to use it. It's okay. Now go back to your flower, and mine was quite pink when I put it up, so I just dabbed some of my Toffee Crunch and I went around the edges to tone down some of that pink, and I just went around and to tone that down a little bit. And that's what I use Toffee Crunch for, is to tone colors down as well as ink around and antique things. So okay, glossy accent is on this. We will apply the glossy accents to this, but we're going to put these in there. And I'm going to grab, in your toolkit, I don't know which one you're using, and I'm going to use this one because I think I'm still wet, and this is my old mat. In your toolkit, I'm going to put these back in here. Grab a smaller head, and that's what we're going to use for this. And since mine's already gunked up, this older mat, it'll be perfect for the occasion here. Just put your flower down there, use your tip, and just push like that. And then you'll do it for the same for the other one, and mine is still a little wet. So you'll want to do this when it's dry, that's for sure. But I've already started. And all you are going to do with that is just put it right inside the other, like so. Glue it right on in there. And then we are going to do the same with the other two. Sometimes I just grab it like this, being careful not to get it on my tool. And it's easier just to stick it on in there, like so. And I don't get burnt either. And that's sticking to me. There we go. So that's all we do there. You should look like that. Get this out of the way. And now I'm just going to put a little glue inside my flower. I'm trying to do this without being messy. And just stick that right on in there. Okay. Again, I have some sort of color. It looks like gray from that paintbrush that didn't get cleaned and when the other got on there. So this is what you should have. At this point, and I'm going to use a totally different brush, and this one looks clean. And I'm going to brush the glossy accents on there. And I'm going to remove it from this. And I'm just going to squeeze some out. That is quite a bit, but I like mine thicker. I think I will zoom in a little here if I can. Let's see. Okay, looks like no color's coming off this one. Good. Alright, so all I'm going to do is just apply it with the paintbrush, going around and getting in there. And I'm going to let this sit and dry. And I'm going to go wash this. And that's what you should look like. There's the flower. So while the flower's dry, let's get on to our leaves. I have pistachio, and I'm going to start with that. And even though our leaves are pink from our stamp, don't worry about it. Your green should go right on over that. And we're going to go heavy around the edges on all of these. And at the tip. And then what we can do is just dab some of this darker green on it like so. So we're going to do that with each one of these. Okay, I have mine all done. Now we'll grab a little pear tart. I hope I have the right dauber. I better check. Yep. And all I'm going to do here is just give it a little bit of green. Not a whole lot, but a little more of that different colored of a green. And we're going to do this to all of them. Alright, we're going to put our Wink of Stella on it. On all of these now. Okay, I've got my Wink of Stella on there. We are going to allow that to dry. Okay, I have everything set off to the side that I'm going to need for layering on the cover. In fact, I am going to grab one of these to prop mine up so you can see it just a little better. I think that'll work. Right like that. Okay, what I have before me is I've got the box of these. This is completely optional. These are the dried baby's breath that you can pick up down at Michael's if you'd like for accent, filler. Got my leaves, my flowers. Our packaged flowers come into play now. So out of this pack, we are only going to need one flower at this time. And I'm going to show you which one and where to lay it. So we are going to be going back and forth from pack to pack, it will seem, because we are, because we're doing a layering thing. So the one I want is, come on Shellie, get it out. This one. And I do have my hot glue gun. And the first thing I'm going to do, and this is where it comes in handy for quick tacking, is I'm just going to plant that right here. Right like that. Okay, let's grab a butterfly. He's going to sit right like this. Okay, in this pack, and this one, I'm actually, so we're going to get at a few things in here, and then I'll put it back in the pack when I'm done. Now you can use one of these leaves at this time to go right back and over like this if you would like, or you can just use all of these. I actually am going to use both, so I'm going to stick this right here. Now these, I love these. These are absolutely beautiful. You'll want your snips. I'm just going to cut that down just a little bit. Okay, this one's going to place right here, and I am going to bend it just a little bit so it's going to go over the frame and fit nicer. I'm going to need another glue stick here. Just like that. Okay, we're going to leave these out here. We'll work a little here, a little there, so I can get the balancing right in here. And we will be done with this one for just a bit, so you set it off to the side. This one. This gets placed right here. Grab one of your larger ones. We're going to stick that right like that. Okay, our main flower is going to go right here. And I do need that other glue stick. And I am going to get around there, like so. Quite a bit of glue, actually. And if I need to add more, I will add more. Okay. You should be able to slide one of these. And this came out of this pack. And I'm going to slide him under the leaf. Just like that. I buried my other leaf a little too much, but that's okay. I can add more. Now, we do need another butterfly. And he's going to slip right like this. Right in there. Where you can still see a little bit of that green leaf. Okay. I have this. Now, I didn't put it in like so. I actually turned it upside down just to get some of that color. Okay. So I am actually just going to add some glue, have it upside down, peel back some of these flowers, and slip it in there. Just so you can see a little bit of that. Okay. Whoops. Okay. This one. I'm going to take off some of that. He goes right like this. I'm going to add some glue. Stick it down. We have this. And I am going to snip that down. It will separate your flowers out a little. We're just going to keep them bunched up. And these are going to lay right in like this. I think you can see that. So, keeping them as bunched up as I can, I'm going to put my glue down first here. If you're working with a high temp, be very careful. I'm just going to lay them in there. I'm using the low temp because I will scald myself. Okay. Set these off to the side. Let's get into this one. And we will be adding our bingo and our other stuff here in a moment. Matter of fact, while I'm working on this area, grab one of these. I'm using my white glue here. Put some glue on that. And that's going to sit right like this. I'm going to let that glue down. Okay. We are going to place this one right here, and this is a larger, the more pinkish colored one. goes right like this. In this pack, you will find some smaller ones. Let's grab I'm grabbing 2 of the more pinker ones and 2 of the whiter. I'm going to set these off to the side. Okay, a whiter one is going to place right here. Grab one of these, and I am going to use regular glue for this. And it's going to slide right here. The bingo goes right like this. So I'm going to put glue all over this so that wherever it hits, it will catch something to hold it better. That's going to pop that up a little bit there. Okay, it needs time to dry. Okay, this other one is going to place right here, and it is a cream, or excuse me, more of the whiter color. It's going to go right like that. One of the more pinkish ones, it's going to go right over here. That still needs to dry. I may have wiped off a lot of that. I'm going to get that back in there. Okay, this one goes right here. We're going to give this a little bit of time to dry before we start in with anything else. Okay, grab a smaller leaf, and I am going to slide this right in there to stick out, and I'm going to use something to let's go ahead and add another green leaf. I think I want a smaller one for this, and I'm going to use the hot glue. And I'm just going to slide that right like that. Grab a larger leaf, and we're just going to slide that right like that, right underneath, right in there. I'm adding some filler, and I'm just going to slide that right in there, just like that. I have another small piece of filler here, and I'm just going to slide that right like that. Okay, one more leaf just gets slid right under in here. If you need to bend it over, do so to fit it underneath. I like to add my stuff at the end. So we're just going to lift that up and place that like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place 2 small flat back pearls right over here. And I need to allow that to dry. Oops, get on there. And I'm going to let that dry. Let's move on to the spine. we are going to need this. I already stole my other one out of here for another project. In your paper pack, it's the last sheet now since we already removed the other one. We're going to take this sticker off. And here it is. Okay. Now all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stick this on a piece of scratch cardstock. I find that the adhesive of sometimes these stickers are not the best. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my plate. And we are going to do that. So all I'm going to do is hold it there and try to cut around as best I can. But I want it to be able to have something for this to grab onto. So now that I have this, just like that, oh, I see just a hair over here that needs to come off. So all I'm going to do now is get my glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit around here. And I'm going to mount that, just like that. So once that's down, now I can add glue to the back of this. And we're just going to let that sit and dry right like this. So let's let that give a moment to dry there and grab. Okay, we are in this flower pack, and these are the ones I've got. I've got a pink, and these are the small ones. I'm going to use some glue. One goes here, and these are the ones with the little rhinestones in it, really cute. One goes here. And then this one's going to place right here. Okay, let's set this to the side and move on into the album. Okay, the first sheet in your paper pack is this, and we're going to go ahead and trim off the top piece there, and that can go into the garbage anytime we trim this off. Anything else that we cut from the collection goes into reserves, even if it's a small sliver of a piece. I mean, even something like this, just stick it off in your reserve scrap pile, because you never know when I might call it out. I may need that for something. So until the project's done, none of our paper gets thrown away. Okay, measure over 6 inches and cut that right down the middle. Put this in your reserve pile. Now, looking at it like this, let's go ahead and measure over 8 inches and cut it. Okay, we are going to use this in just a moment. Let's set that off to the side. Let's grab our black cardstock. Measure over 5 1/4 inches and cut it. Put this in reserves. Let's grab our Martha Stewart deep edge punch. Any one will work. And we're going to punch along the long side here. Let's grab our score tape, and we are going to apply it to the bottom of our page. And we are going to mount this as our pocket. Now when we're mounting this, we are longer where we have some hangover. If I was to lay this down here, we need that hangover on each side because it wraps around the back. So I'm just going to plant this, and then we just fold over. I'm going to use my glue gun for quick tacking here, like so. This should fit nicely. A perfect fit, actually. So let's go ahead and apply your glue. We don't need a whole lot of it here. And let's mount this on our pocket. You have this in reserves. Looking at it like this, measure over to 8 inches and cut it. Grab your scoreboard, and at the 1/2 inch mark, let's go ahead and score a line. And at the 3/4 of an inch, let's score it again. Now let's fold on our lines. Okay, so we have this. Notice we have some spacing here. That spacing is going to help us for when after we attach this, it'll give us enough spacing so that when we have our picture mats, our other pocket and everything, it won't be sticking up like this on us, you know, too tight of a fit. So right now, all I'm going to do is fold all of the flaps back behind, and it's going to be behind on the left. In your paper pack, you will find this sheet on the back. It looks like this. Let's first go ahead and trim off that. Now let's measure over 4 3/4 of an inch and cut that. The large side goes in our reserves. Now measure over 7 7/8 and cut it. Hold this one off to the side. If you were to place this just to look, centering it, you will have black on the bottom, the top, and the sides. That's great. That's what you want. Let's work with this. Okay, grab a piece of cardstock and measure over 4 3/4 of an inch and cut it. The larger piece is going to go in your reserves. Now I am using the Martha Stewart 1/2 inch punch, and we are going to punch along the long side all the way across. Okay, so we're going to make this into a pocket, but if you notice, we need a little bit of a flap over here and a flap over here. We really don't need all this extra, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off there. Let's go ahead and place some score tape at the bottom. As we move into the tutorial, we'll get to using some of our dies, trim die borders. But this first one, we're just going to use the punches because they're beautiful. Okay. This piece right here should fit perfectly. And we're going to apply some glue and glue that down. All right, make sure that's all down. Now let's go ahead and glue this down to our fold out. Now remember, your flaps, fold them all back behind on the left. And we're just going to apply our glue to the back of this. And mount it. Flip this over. Your flaps are off to the right. We're going to work on the inside. Okay, in your reserves, you should have this piece. It's actually the other side to this. Looking at it like this, measure over 7 7/8 and cut it. The small piece goes in our reserves. Now, looking at it like this, measure over 4 3/4 inch and cut it. Stick this in reserves. Before you go any farther, check to make sure you have the accurate cut. You should have some black up here, around here, and on the bottom centered, and you are well enough away from your inner score line. All right, we actually need to work on it looking up with the flowers at the top. Grab a piece of cardstock, and we're going to measure over 1 3/4 inch and cut it. Now, I'm not cutting it on this side. They just wouldn't, by the time I'm cutting that strip, it's really hard to wrap sides sometimes when you only have a little teeny bit of a hangover. So that's why I'm doing it this way so that you have enough. We can trim it down. Okay, we are going to go ahead and use our 1/2 inch punch, and we are going to punch along the long side. Okay, score tape on the left side. Your flowers are at the top. Remove our score tape, and we are going to make a side pocket. This is where you can trim off some of that excess if you'd like, that you don't need. Just giving yourself enough to wrap around to the other side. And we're going to tack these down. Okay, in your reserves, you have this piece here, and what we're going to do is measure over 1 1/8 inch and cut it. Okay, put the rest in reserves. Now measure over 8 inches, or 7 7/8 inch, and cut it. Let's get our glue out, and we are going to glue this down. Like I said before, we're going to come back and do the lace and the flowers. Okay, remember flaps are off to our right at this point. Let's add glue to the back of this and put it on our fold out. Remembering to keep an eye out for not going past that inner score line. Okay, let's attach. And what I do is there's the inner score line and the outer score line. And I'm just going to pinch it so I can see that inner score line. All you do here is bring that crease right up against it, making it sure that it's flush. I pinch it and I hold on to it. I'm going to flip it, still holding. Now, if yours slipped while you did that, if you felt your paper slip, you got to start all over because you're not going to be even. So at this point, all I'm going to do is add a little glue, wrap these and tack them. Then I can push that back and you should be even. Let's decorate. Okay, the last page in your paper pack is the sticker sheet. You will find this sticker, and all we are going to do, and there's a pre-fold score, all we are going to do is first place, and we're going to bring the tip of this and the tip of that right at the end, here and here, or actually over to the side, right on at the end of this trim. Then we are going to flip it over, trying to match up with that. And I am going to use some glue, just a little, make sure mine stays. All right. And there is our pull tab. There's the first thing. All right. There's a glare right here. I'm not going to worry about it right now. The lighting will change in moments. Cut a piece of lace to fit right across here and glue that down. I don't think I need quite that much glue, but that's okay. Next, cut a piece of bling. Now, this glue is excellent and it will hold down your lace. You do have to wait though and be patient for it to dry, to grab hold, and it usually takes a couple minutes. The next thing we're going to do is cut a piece of bling and glue that down right like that. Okay, let's cut we're on the inside now. We've got this. Let's go ahead and cut a piece of lace to fit across here. We're going to glue it down, and then we're going to cut, well, no, we're not cutting yet. We're going to glue one of these pieces from our box. This gets glued right here, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to cut a couple pieces of bling to fit each side. And we're going to glue that down. So let's do that. Now I have my lace down. It's still trying to dry. But I recommend when you're gluing this down, stick a piece of cardstock behind here. And you can add glue to the back of this. And I do have a line of glue going across for my bling. But this, if you put cardstock back here, then you don't have to worry about anything getting back behind on your paper. And I cut some, and I can't remember which one goes on which side. This one goes here. Now remember, when you are cutting your bling to get it to fit, make sure that it does not go off on your inner score line here. That will cause some trouble, and your fold out will not sit right when you try to close it. So if you need to cut your bling just a little shy of the edge, do so. I did that kind of, so. Okay. That's all down, and I'm going to let this dry. In the meantime, we're going to work on this portion. In your paper pack, which should now be the last sticker sheet left because we pulled the other one out, we are going to spell family down here. Now, if you don't want this book to be about family or whatever, you won't do anything. I'm going to go ahead and grab the sticker F. And it does have adhesive, but like I said, sometimes adhesives just don't work that great. So I'm going to put the F here, and you can just eyeball this. You don't need to measure. I put too much glue. And then I'm going to grab the smaller case letters, and I'm just going to bring that on down here until I'm done spelling family. Okay, once this is dried, we can go back this way. Let's work on this. Now, one thing I did do is I used a small paper doily, and I inked around the edges with the Toffee Crunch, and I'm going to glue this down right here. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is grab a bingo. And the bingo is going to go right here. And you still want to show some of your red flower. Oops, it goes up there. Okay. Grab one of your pre-made flowers and the leaves. I'm going to grab my hot glue gun for this and just put a little there. And this flower. Okay, I'm getting into these flower packs, and I've picked 3 flowers. Pink, and then a smaller pink, and one of these. The pink, the larger pink one goes on first. Then this one. And then the smaller one. Okay, grab one of the cameos. This is going to slide right like this. And you have some options here. In the package, there's also the cover for this, so grab that. Okay, so here is the little thing that comes with the cameo. And all I'm going to do right now is cut one from the deal. Now, I'm also going to use this as a template, so I am going to cut around it as best I can. As best I can. I'm not that great at cutting circles or ovals. Okay, don't remove the backing yet. Now, if you have a small picture of a family member or whatever that will fit inside this oval, well, go ahead and use this as a template to draw around and cut it out. However, on your cover, for those of you that do not have that, on your cover, down here, we are going to cut this small little square out. I'm discombobulated here. Okay. All I'm going to do is grab a pen. I'll show you what I got going here. There is a really pretty vibrant rose right here with the green. All I'm going to do is stick this right over it. I'm going to trace around this and cut it out. So let's do that. Alright, I got mine cut out. Moment of truth, whether or not it's going to work in there. It looks like it will fit in there. So I'm going to go for it. And I hope for the best. And I'm just going to slip this right on in there. Hopefully it won't, no, I can push it down and it will fit in there real nice. Okay, let's remove the backing off this if I can. There it is. And we will attempt to get this in our little thing. That wasn't too hard at all, actually. That just went right on in. Okay, all I'm going to do is apply some glue to the back of this, and I'm going to slide that right like this. And I have to let that dry. Oops. Definitely need to let this dry. Okay, last thing, make a little bow. This is 1/8 inch wide white ribbon. I'm out of my white satin bows. I'm out of stock. So all I'm going to do is apply a little glue, and we just kind of partially slip that right there. This page is complete. Let's go ahead and flip it over, and we are going to lay our score tape. We are going to go around the outside, and we're going to go one down the middle and 2 small ones on either side. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is what you should look like. Now, this is the page 1, which is the inner cover page of our album, which sits here. For now, we are not going to mount this. I'm going to wait to do page 2 and 1 together so that we get them straight and where they need to be. Let's move on to page 2. Okay, in your reserves, you will have this sheet. Let's go ahead and, looking at it like this, measure over 8 inches and cut it. Go ahead and stick this in reserves. Okay, grab your Spellbinders S6028. This is the oval floral. This is the larger one. You're going to grab the 2 largest plates. This one and this one. I need to clean this one before I do anything. All right, and we are going to create a special pocket for this when we're done, and we also are going to create the mat, the picture mat that's going to slide in between so you can grab it up and down, and then we'll cover it. So what you're going to want to do is, now if your die cutter, first off, this is 6 inches wide. Most die cutters have a 6-inch wide platform, and you can run this right through. For those of you that don't, you can use this as a stencil and do your circle, and you will cut this out. You are going to place this in the middle, and the top of that ring is going to be 1 1/4 inches from the top of this to the top of your page, and centered. So let's run that through our die cutter. You can put this in reserves. The next thing is we're going to grab a piece of black cardstock, measure over 5 inches and cut it. Okay, so this is 5 inches across. This should be plenty big. All we're going to do is lay this down, and we're going to place our ring in the center so the inside will cut out. You may want to use some tape to keep the ring centered in properly in between the outer bracket, and we're going to run that through the die cutter. Okay, so this frame should now fit right on over this. We are not going to glue this down yet. We'll do that when we're done. That other piece of cardstock that we had is going to serve as a special pocket back behind here. And we should be perfect on the edges as far as width for that. So all you're going to want to do is trim this off so that it fits. Okay, I've got mine all trimmed up. It will fit exactly over here. This is the backing to this so that we can get our thing in and out, but we need to get our pen or pencil. Pencil's probably best. You can use your ring for this. It's a good shape. And all we're going to do is take out a little bit here so it's easier to get at. So if you center that, you can just use your pen to mark. And now we're going to cut. Find my scissors here. Okay. The notch is so that we can actually get at our thing better, but we do want to put some color here. In your reserves, you will find a piece. It's like this on one side, and it's like that on the other. It is about 4 1/8 inches across, and it's about 7 1/4 tall. If you were to center this and bring that all the way to the top, and if you were to lay this down, voila, there's a backing. So what we're going to do is glue this down. Got the glue on there. That looks good. Okay, let's grab our score tape. And we are going to place score tape on the left side, the bottom, and the right side only. All right, and we're going to carefully place this over it so it lines up. And it may take me a moment from the position I'm in to get this straight. I think I got it. If not, I'm going to have to trim mine. Oh, I got it. So all we want to do is just press down on the edges here, make sure it's down. Okay, we are going to make the mat that goes in here. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 4 3/4 of an inch wide by 7 inches long. Now in your paper pack, the very first sheet is this. You have another one of these. Let's carefully trim this off. Now, looking at your paper like this, measure over 4 1/2 inches and cut it. We're going to do one thing at a time. Your leftover oval, you are going to place the top of it at the top of this. We're going to center this, and you can tell what center is because you can see a little bit peeking out from the side, the same print. And we are going to trace around that and cut it out. Okay, I got mine cut out, and this is the leftovers from this page. What we're going to do is measure over 4 5/8 and cut that. Put the larger piece in reserves. Now let's turn that, measure down 6 7/8 and cut it. Okay. On your lace, let's snip off a section of it. And I'm just going to shorten this up. This is going to be my pull tab. You can use just regular ribbon if you'd like. All I've done is this. Okay, time to glue this down. We're going to ink around, actually we don't have to on this. Let's just get this on here, center this. Okay. My little pull tab goes right here. I am going to use a little bit of hot glue. It's just going to come down a little bit, just enough to get a good handle on this. Okay, the next step, you will want a pencil. Let's slide this in. Slide it on down there. Okay. You should be something like this, and you can pull it up a little more and put a little pearl. I think that's what I got going there anyway. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of hot glue for this quick tack. at the top here on the lace, and then it won't go down any farther. Okay, so I've got this in, and I see where the center is. This actually is going to place on the photo mat in there, but we want to make sure that we get it centered in the right spot. So if we grab a pencil, and I do not seem to have one, I'm going to wing it. All I'm going to do is make a mark on this. It's going to get covered. Well, I'm going to make sure. That's why you should be using pencil. There's the top. Here's the inner bottom. Let's pull this out. And now I know where the top and bottom is. Top and the bottom of this should be. So now I can add my glue. And then what you can do is, because the idea is to put a family photo in here or the photo of your choice, but you can keep this, and of course you're going to be going over it, but until you do that, she's going to show through to be a decorative. But you can use this as your template for your photo, and then you can just place it right on over that. So there's the idea behind that. So let's get this in and take a look how we did. Oh, and there we go. Perfect. So now you know when you do put a photo and put it over, you know where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that part is done. Let's go ahead and glue this down. And what you're going to want to do to make sure that no glue gets on this is take this out for a moment. Grab a piece of scrap cardstock. All I'm going to do is just fold this thing over here. Slip it back in here. Now I'm going to apply glue right around the edges. All right. Make sure I get that on there right. And I can slide this back in there. There. Okay. Those of you that are die cutting your own leaves, go ahead and do that. I'm going to use out of this pack a couple leaves in here. I've already been in this pack, so. Okay, inks. I'm using pistachio, dark around the edges and in here, and then I'm brushing it with the pear tart. Let's do that. Flowers. I've got 2 leaves. I'm just going to glue 1 leaf down right here. I'm going to put my main flower down right about here. This one gets placed right here. Whoops. I think I centered my leaf a little off. That's okay. This is out of the other flower pack. Nope, you can still see it. Perfect. Okay, the other little leaf, you're just going to glue right down right in here. So let's do that. Okay, so for the next part, I have a small doily, and all I'm going to do with this is apply some glue here on it, and I'm just going to stick it right like this. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is cut a piece of bling that's going to fit across the bottom, and we're going to glue that down. And that's going to need a moment to dry and catch. Okay. Okay, cut 2 small pieces of lace, and we are going to just glue those right underneath this flower, just like that. Okay, the tails of us goes right here, so let's put some glue on that. And I've got 4 of the smallest flowers right over here. And we've got the darker pink, the light pink, and 2 different colored of the beige. And all I'm going to do here, add a little glue. Stick that there, and I'm going to take the darker pink and stick that right there. And then these 2, one gets glued here, and the other one's going to get glued right here. Okay, when this has dried, we're going to flip this over. We're going to put score tape around the outside, 1 down the middle, and 2 little ones on either side. And we're going to mount this together because we have page 1 to do as well. So let's go ahead and glue down our pieces here and let it dry. Okay, so let's grab our book. We are first going to mount page 2, then we're going to mount page 1 because it'll make it easier for lining it up, being that the inner cover is larger than our inner page here. So what we're going to do is we are going to center this, and you will have about a 1/4 inch of black frame around this. So to keep you straight, if you want to use pencil, measure in a 1/4 inch of a pencil here and here and to line you up, you can do that. It is also hard to see your pages because they're all black and they blend together. So this is what I do sometimes so that I can see. I just grab something and I stick it behind that page. So now I can see where the edge is better. So I'm going to remove my score tape, and this is what it should look like. Page 2. Get this. Mostly, I hardly ever use a pencil and a ruler to get this. I just eyeball this, really. Okay, so I am just going to center it, and I'm just going to look around. I know what a 1/4 inch looks like this way, and I'm going to have a 1/4 inch here, here, and here, so I'm just going to look over here and here to see where I need to be. And keeping myself straight as possible, and that's all. You'll want to keep your mat in there so that your page doesn't get too tight. And then once that's down, just make sure you press down everywhere. Okay, let's grab the first page here. And how we're going to do this, and I can get rid of this now if I wanted. Of course, I need to line it up. It's probably best to leave that there. What I'm going to do is this page is going to be centered. Okay, what I'm looking to do is to keep this corner the same height as this corner. So I'm going to remove my score tape. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep as straight as the top of this to help me, and I'm just going to center that as best I can. And I think I'm pretty even here. Okay, so once I got that down, That's the part where I can open this up and make sure that it's all down, like so. Okay, that's all there is to it. We're on to page 3.